Let's face it, Brendan O'Carroll is a dirty little bollocks. Back in 1995, when I used that opening line to kick off my first interview with Brendan, I was being provocative on purpose, feeding into a perception that many of my readers may have had, simply because I then wanted to turn that notion on its ass. I even went on to say that when I saw Brendan backstage at the recent world premiere of Riverdance, he was, quote, swanning around with a blonde babe who outproportioned him in every sense, a fact that prompted one passerby to shout, "Brendan, she's too tall for you," and him to reply, "Not on her back, she's not." I also pointed out that O'Carroll himself used to preface his early shows by warning that his act was rude, filthy, and disgusting. And then he'd say, "And if you don't like that, you can off." And I suggested that whereas many people would not find his act either rude, filthy, or disgusting, some may find it cheap, patronising, sexist, racist, and boring. I stand by all that, and over what I said next, namely, the man himself is Ireland's most successful comedian. And this fact has been verified 1,000-fold in the subsequent years thanks to his television version of his original stage creation, Mrs. Brown. And here I guess I should say, for the record, that until I interviewed Brendan that day in the Westbury Hotel in 1995, I had never previously spoken with the man. In fact, despite his legendary February 1993 breakthrough on Ireland's Late Late Show, I hadn't really paid much attention to his career. But from the moment we met, we connected. Probably partly or largely because we both are working class dubs, although we both came from different sides of Dublin City. And I should say that after this interview, and certainly in the period leading up to the second interview we did in 2001, and by the way, both interviews are available in my ebook, Brendan O'Carroll, Soul Searching and Uncensored, we had become social friends. This may help explain why, during our second interview, I was more like a priest hearing Brendan's confession, particularly in terms of the breakup of his marriage, a subject he rarely discussed in public. In time, I'll make a podcast based on the second interview, but this is the first. And by the way, if you want to read any of my other articles, check out joejacksoninterviewer.com.
I might another one.
Very happy to hear that. Okay, I said to you the other night, and I meant it, I've no need to bullshit anybody. I enjoyed the show. I've no problem with anything about it. Okay, I mean, those who might find some of it offensive, I'm going to have to come at it from some of those angles to give you a chance to address it. But as a rare bird, a Southside working class guy who also taught him Finglas for 3 years.
Did you work?
Scolita. Creative writing classes, is it?
Oh, Scolita's fine. Sorry, I'm thinking about the tech.
No, Scolita. Yeah,
Brilliant.
adults.
Mr. Silk.
Yeah, the kind of, I had mostly women. Mostly kind of 20, 24 women, 2 guys, 22 women.
I bet you saw some right.
They were fucking great.
Brilliant.
It's great. The energy, the need to express themselves was
Big
like...
time. Well, they've no other outlet.
I know.
They've no outlet within their marriage.
I know, that's what they were telling me.
You know,
I only had to give them a subject like that, and by Jesus, the next week you get 72 books.
Absolutely. No, honest to God.
And at the readings, it was the same. Carroll was wonderful.
You know, and this is something that... See Roddy Doyle?
Yeah.
You say Paddy Clark, ha ha. The likes of those women will read that and go, so?
Yeah.
They don't see anything extraordinary in it. They really won't.
Yeah.
Because they're in it.
A little black coffee, yeah.
More coffee?
Yeah, you go sit down.
I don't sound good just an ambulance.
Yeah, I prefer that too.
So would I. That's unanimous.
I was just thinking, I have a jumper like this
we
as
all
well.
got
We're going to have to start meeting, lads.
Mine is 27. What would you? All right.
Oh, yeah, it must have been brilliant.
Well, it was. I have a couple of questions, but I'll go into that about Paddy
Well, I'll tell you
Clark.
what, I'll follow your lead.
All right.
Because
Yeah,
I
well,
tend to...
no, I have a set of questions here. If you're going too far, I'll kind of clip your wings. Okay, if you're going on too long. Because there's a set of questions here, and I want to end up talking more seriously about this thing about politics, your mother.
Yeah.
I'm going to let's leave that till the end because that's looking into the future.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's a kind of my first sight of you was swanning about backstage at Riverdance with the blonde. A friend of mine said she's too tall for you, and you said, "Not in her back, she's not."
That sounds like me.
Does it? So who was the blonde? It wasn't your wife.
No, the blonde was...
Me mother. You can't.
Actually, I'll tell you exactly
that was no
who the
blonde. That was me mother.
The blonde is engaged to a friend of mine called Brendan Keeley. And an interesting thing about that...
What? I caught you.
No. See that night in Riverdance? That was my treat.
Right.
To these people. Tommy Swarbrick, Brendan Keeley, John Courtney of Umbro. All these people have been terribly fucking good to me. I mean terribly good to me. And not just now, when it'd be easy to be good to me.
Yeah.
And I don't mean it the wrong way, but
Sure.
it would be fucking easily good now. But John Courtney, when I went to play for Bohemians first, I was brought in to replace a guy who just wasn't scoring. But he was with the club 9 fucking years.
All right.
All the boys knew his wife, and all the boys knew him, and I was treated like I was fucking brought in to assassinate him.
All
It
right.
wasn't my
yeah.
gig, I was just
Yeah,
brought in to
yeah.
do the job. But Courtney, who was playing centre half of them at the time, was a gentleman. And from that day on, I went through some hard times. John was always there to help me out and became a good friend. So Riverdance was my treat. Brendan Keeley's a great mate of mine, looked after us in America, looked after us when he came home here. Again, when we were starting out, gave us gigs when he shouldn't have been giving us gigs. In places that he had that didn't warrant a gig,
Right.
but just to keep us going a few bob. So I got an opportunity the other night to treat him the other night. His fiancée, she's a lovely girl, Deirdre. I got a suite for them in the Borough,
All right.
and we all met in that suite. Had a bar in it, cars from there to the front. I mean, put on the whole
Yeah,
spread.
Right. Right.
And he arranged as a treat for her the next morning that they fly to Paris for the weekend.
Right.
She came out in Paris to her family meeting her in the airport because they just won 1.5 million in the lottery.
Who did?
She did.
She did.
When she was in
Mother
fucking
of
France.
Jesus.
The family, she did this thing and collected a pound off them all or whatever. And they got 150 grand each. Was that fucking brilliant?
Right.
So there's the story.
Well,
So
that's
there's
it.
something that
All
I
right.
had the richest ride ever.
So the treat wasn't you.
No, unfortunately not.
All right. So what about? Have you got any kind of reputation along those lines? A bit of a
No,
A
not
boyo.
really. No.
a lad.
No, the kind of girl I suppose pull would be the word, or attract. It's usually the nice girls, but they're middle-aged and they think I'm cute.
Oh, huggable and fuckable.
Yeah, I'm really, no, not fuckable.
Not
I'm really,
fuckable,
no, I'm really
huggable.
huggable. But I'm not fuckable. I mean, I have a mirror. I look in the mirror and I know, look, any girl who wants to ride me can't be fucking well. The one I want is the one that doesn't want to ride me. And unfortunately, I fucking married her.
But do you not get an extra power though when you get on? They don't almost
Oh,
they
yeah,
stop
yeah,
seeing how you
but-
look. They
but,
just
you know.
like the.
But if you see me, I mean, it's not credible words. It's not credible. Like it's. Of course you get it, you know. You get
Yeah.
girls come up and how you Brendan? Can I
Yeah.
give you a wink?
Yeah.
I had a girl do that in front of Dorian one week.
To which Dorian said,
Dorian looked at me and said, "Well, what do you think?" She looked at it and said, "Well, what do you think?"
"Have you a minute?"
So what I do is I usually say, "Listen, I appreciate the offer, but no thanks very much. But I appreciate the offer." You know, because I never say, "Listen, fuck off, it's scumbag."
Yeah.
Listen, I appreciate the offer, thanks very much. But seriously, a girl who comes up and says, "Do you want a wank?" You know,
It's not
was
the
it
best
an
come on
Alsatian
in
she
the
was
world,
with
is it?
last night, or what? You know, well, I suppose I'll have one now, you smooth talking country.
Yeah, well, yeah.
You know, usual,
That's only our own
the
book.
usual line.
But are you ever tempted?
Oh,
Does Dorian
yeah.
have to worry?
Yeah. Well, no, she doesn't have to worry because I suppose. Yeah.
It'd be kind of unnatural not to be though in a way.
Well, I was
wouldn't
going to say it's not fucking right of me to say no. Dorian doesn't have to worry because Dorian will have to do whatever Dorian has to do,
Okay.
and I'm not. I'm not going to put my hand up and say I would never,
Yeah.
because I don't know what the fuck what's going to happen tomorrow.
it? Sure. Yeah.
But in general, no, I'm not a fella who goes looking for me home.
Right.
I'm usually too fucking busy.
Yeah. Yeah. You leave it to the lads to go muffed up and across in the JFK.
They'll love it. They'll love it. We've got one single guy in the band. God love me, gets fucking
Which one is that? Who is it?
Davey. Me.
Oh, that's the guy who gets all that stuff.
And he gets all this shit thrown at him.
Is this the guy
You know what he
who,
did,
you
Mrs.
dirty bollocks? You're a dirty
Mrs.
bollocks who's lost his glasses because the girlfriend crossed her legs.
Yeah.
Bastard, saying that about his mother. Yeah, fucking hell, ratchet.
But to me, if it pops into your head, say it.
Give me your mother, yeah, that's fucking disgusting.
Well, I wasn't only suggesting it.
Bollocks. But what about that? I mean, I'll throw that into the article because I thought it was very funny. But there are going to be those who say that you're a dirty scumbag, and not just the middle
Well,
class who you'd expect to be offended by that, but a lot of our own who would
Well,
say,
funny enough, the further you get away from the working class, the less of that you get.
which the less.
The less of that dirty, filthy scumbag.
All right.
You get more of that from working class areas.
Do you?
Yeah.
Who really
People-
think you've gone over the line by saying
Well,
something
people
like
who
that?
were in people who were in situations where socially they're at a disadvantage, and they've been placed socially at a disadvantage.
Right.
I mean, it's quite deliberate where they are
Yeah,
and what they're all doing.
yeah, geographically.
Yes,
Yeah, I know.
take a high moral ground because it's all they have.
Yeah, it's the only ground they have to stand on.
It's all they fucking have,
Yeah, yeah.
and I can understand that. But my feeling on it is this: somebody looks at me and says, that's a dirty little bastard. And somebody stands beside him looking and goes, he's a terribly funny guy. I think they're both right.
Right.
Because they're entitled to their own perspective. I can't make
Yeah.
a perspective for them.
Yeah.
And I have to. The show is not for everybody. Of course it's not
Sure.
for everybody.
Yeah.
But as well as that, I mean, if I want to be scientific about it, is there any show for everybody?
Yeah.
I had a guy ring up a talk show one night. I was guesting on it. And he said, I saw your show tonight, in which you did a story about Cecil and Marcus, two homosexuals.
Right.
I said, yeah. He said, I found it
Right.
a bit offensive.
He was
I
gay.
said, yeah. I said, I'm sorry about that. And the first thing I said, I'm sorry. Are you gay? He said, yes, I am. I said, why we're talking about it now? Because honestly, I don't be asking questions. I asked him to get the answers. What did you find offensive? Well, he said that you, the stereotyping of gays as camp,
Yeah.
you know? I said, well, look, I said, I'm not going to
Like the guy in the
excuse
pet
it.
shop.
Yeah. That's exactly it. Like the guy in the pet shop.
Yeah.
I said, I'm not going to excuse it because I can't in your eyes excuse it. But let me try and explain it.
Right.
If I say this gay guy walked into a bar and said, do you boys just lyrics? It's the same as me saying a Russian guy walked into a place and went, here, Sam, when you're ready. I have a responsibility, I feel I have a responsibility, as well as telling a story, to be painting a picture in somebody's mind. To create that picture, I have to use stereotypes.
Right. Yeah.
And that doesn't make it right or wrong.
Sure. Yeah.
But that's
yeah.
what I do. I said, just for curiosity, do you know any gay jokes that wouldn't offend people?
Sure. Yeah.
He said, well, yes, I do. Well, I said, I'm all ears. He said, a woman's going down the lane and two gays, this old woman's trotting down the lane, two gays mugged her, one held her down and the other one did her hair. And I roared laughing. I said, that's very funny. But you're now going to have the association for the elderly on saying there's nothing fucking funny about holding an old woman down. You're also going to have the hairdressers on saying not all hairdressers are gay.
Yes.
And you have the gays on saying not all gays are hairdressers.
You're going to have feminists on saying you're perpetuating violence to women.
That's right. And he said, oh yeah. So I said, the point I'm making is this.
Yeah.
If you come to my show saying, I'm going to watch and see that this guy slag China people, it'll happen.
Is there any aspect, you know, that kind of when you joke about the, do you get any kind of serious, again, people coming back to you about jokes and mothers and children and incest and all that? Do you ever feel there's some subjects I don't want to push that one? And you back
Some things I
down?
wouldn't touch.
You know what I mean?
Well, incest I wouldn't touch.
Yeah.
I mean, the joke.
The joke about killing your mother head is only a toss-away line.
Absolutely toss away. And it is, I even might, sometimes when I'm down the country, I might say, there's a lot of young girls in the audience, I might say, and this is Dave. I said, hold on. Because somebody has to say this. Dave hasn't had a ride for 9 months. From somebody who's not related to him. You know, and that gets a laugh.
Yeah.
And he gets fucking, they love to feel sorry for him.
Yeah.
You know, and
it's
he's
part
a,
of it.
yeah, it's a sympathy thing. No, I don't find incest. I don't find paedophiles funny. I don't find Northern Ireland funny. I don't do Northern Ireland jokes. I don't do racist jokes. Insofar as I don't do anti-black jokes.
Yeah.
I suppose in a way you could call the Chinese jokes racist jokes, but I just call them.
Yeah.
And I like to think I'm balancing it. That I'm
Right.
also taking the piss out of, like with the fucker off your cunt.
Yeah, well,
That I'm also taking the piss out of the guy who's coming in.
Well, you see, that to me is another element of your humour, that people, you're slagging everybody.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
like to
turn
keep
it
it
around, you-
balanced.
I want to stay alive.
But I have done things that I've fucking made some faux pas, you know,
Yeah, like
in the early days.
faux pas. Jesus, that's far from where we were raised. What's a faux pas? Is that something
My mum
gay?
used to say it all the time, but apparently, I don't know what it means, but you get a kick in the fucking ear for it.
Up in Killarney,
I think
they
it's
say,
German for
"Fuck
fuck
up." Fuck up, I fucking hate you. It's the same phrase. Okay, so what were your fuck ups?
I had a couple of fucking,
It's a couple there.
yeah, when you used to put you in fucking head. Jesus, Rory.
Doesn't matter. So, yeah, so what was it? What happened?
No, actually, wait, won't you get over the
It is fucking...
Won't you
Oh,
get
yeah,
over the
okay. So what happened? Tell us a few times where you felt you...
Yeah, doing the barge about 3 years ago, and
Right.
I was doing it. So fucking. Was out and I just wanted to grab it and
Okay, yeah.
fuck it back in. I was doing some story. I can't even remember the story I was doing, but in a throwaway line I said, like 3 Germans up in the park. And the fuckers had been killed. The guy had been killed in the park, you know?
Yeah, out there.
And I just realised as it was coming out,
Tourists.
what the fuck are you saying?
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
But lesson learned, and lesson learned was concentration. It's nice to be able to go up there and go, I don't give a fuck, I'll just throw them away. But it takes a lot of focus as well.
I'd say so. You
There has
can't.
to be a line to go down, and you know.
Wait, do you get sponsored by Coke?
No, I don't, but it's the only thing I drink.
I think you should try it. You
There
know?
might have been a problem with product association.
Maybe yeah, that's absolutely right. When they fucked away Michael Jackson, didn't they?
And all he did was fuck his mate.
That's right, yeah. As we all do.
At one time or other.
But when you have to have that concentration and focus, you obviously can't afford to be going on drunk or any of
Never,
that crap.
ever, absolutely never, because if you do, you're bollocks. Well, I mean, apart from anything else, memory.
Yeah.
You know, when you're gargling and you're saying, yesterday, sure, I was talking to the,
Yeah.
out of the office,
Yeah.
I don't get that long on stage.
I know.
If it doesn't come
know.
fucking then, they think
Yeah.
he's making it up. No, I am making it up, but they don't
Yeah.
want you to think. You know, he's fucking making it up as he goes along. They want you to think that you're telling them, bang.
Sure. Yeah.
Comedy can be as outrageous and outlandish as possible. I don't mean that in the rude sense. I mean in the, you know, that I went to China last night.
Yeah. And we accept that.
Only if I believe I did,
Yeah.
and I make you believe I did.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
even if I'm talking about the 2 yellow bears who were talking in the park,
Yeah.
before I get there, I've got to get you into a situation where you believe that I saw 2 yellow bears in the park.
Yeah.
They mightn't have been there, but that I fucking saw them.
But you did see when you were stoned.
Could have been. But I'd never have to say that. You have to be, I have to put you in a way that you go, I saw them all right, but I'll tell you more in a minute, you know? And that's what I'm saying, the comedy has to be believable.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why I don't risk these 2 donkeys were talking to each other, because donkeys don't fucking talk, and I can't really convince you that I'm not that good.
Yeah. No, they don't get on well together.
Not jealous. Not jealous. Donkeys tend to be very solitude
They
characters.
are little shits. What about you're joking about the guy doing the dope? Is that a factor?
No, we're totally anti-drugs. Totally, absolutely. Jerry's,
Even with the strange smelling cigarettes in the back of the van?
oh, that's why I always call it tough. Jerry,
All right.
I would say Jerry probably did a bit in his time with the rock bands, but I mean, he's been in rock bands all his life, young Jerry Simpson,
Yeah.
and like he's been playing in bands since he was 14, so he couldn't have escaped it.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of peer pressure, especially when you're a young musician, so I'm sure he did, but he doesn't with Era. And now, I mean, he's married and he's set. We're like fucking middle-aged men. We haven't,
You could be getting a second wind in the past 2 years, going bananas.
but we'd be out at a
Tell me
gig.
you're dropping to see the parish priest and he's got
I'm
to the
bollocks,
local
no, I wouldn't go
society.
that, no, wouldn't do it that dirty. I'm not a complete pervert.
Maybe next year.
I was nearly going to do it down in down in
fucking
Cork.
priest.
No, I'll be up in Cork with the time they released the paedophile ring.
All right.
I was just going to say, I'm surprised to see us all here. I thought you'd be all at home fucking the kids.
Another one of those edgy lines and edgy comments.
Chubby Brown did it in
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Cleveland, was it?
All right. Yeah.
And got away with it. Well, I don't know if he got away with it or not, but he fucking did it. Wouldn't be my learning. But that would be anti-drugs.
But you see, that comes across, and then you go into wank your blues away.
But we see, we can't. There has to be levity in it.
All right.
I even think you can fucking get people off drugs by making them laugh.
I was going to say, by making them wank.
I think you might be able to get them. Give the coke and top your knob.
See if you can tip it with your tongue.
No, get it up your nose.
You ever tried that?
I will tonight.
And if I don't, someone else will.
Well, you know the old story. I don't know if it did. You know,
That's actually the scene in the movie now you remind me. Was it Scarface or something where she put the line of coke from his belly button down?
Did you see
and you
it?
just see her tongue going down. Take-
Come on, slower. Tell me slower. Tell me slower. Come here and
Can
tell
we
me
pause the
again.
video?
Come here and tell me again.
Have you got a slow playback here? Can we...
I get the fucking cramp.
Well, anyway, seriously, but you are anti.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I
Yeah.
mean, 'cause you talk about coal mine, you talk about it, and it's a serious
Well,
issue.
we're all Dublin, and because we're all Dublin, I don't think that anybody in Dublin has not been touched by it. somewhere along their family, because we're usually all extended families.
Sure.
And my family's been touched by it. Jerry's family has been very badly touched by it.
Right.
And
As in
the
what,
very first-
casualties or deaths?
Yeah, well, casualties and
Right.
not just casualties. Their lives completely fucked up by it.
Yeah.
They're actually now gone through one-way doors, even though they're off drugs. What they've done in the process of the drugs has made them mark people for life. They're criminals now,
Yeah.
even though they're off drugs.
Yeah.
They can never be clean again.
Right.
You can't. It's like me and the financial thing. I've paid
Yes.
all my debts, but I'll never get a fucking loan again.
Sure enough. Yeah.
You know, I'm still a little cunt.
Yeah.
You put my name on the computer, you'll think I was the fucking murdering the bank manager.
Yeah.
But fuck them,
Yeah. Sure.
you know?
Yeah.
I don't need them anymore. They can stick it up that pipe.
No. Yeah. You're right. Yeah. We'll talk about that a bit later.
But
Yeah,
you know what I
sure,
mean?
The black mark.
Absolutely. It's a one-way door.
Yeah.
It's a one-way door.
Yeah,
And there's not,
yeah.
and this crack about access to information and you're trying to give load of bollocks. An absolute load of bollocks. Complete load of bollocks. But anyway, we'll come to that again.
Yeah, we will. But the question about the drugs, because I mean, it is all our families, and particularly working class areas. Heroin's a big problem again. People are getting, as we're talking, no doubt around the corner, somebody's shooting up.
Absolutely.
So it's a very fucking serious issue.
And,
you know?
and even, you know, don't lose sight of this either. As we're talking, up in the suites, somebody's shooting them.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, it's not a working class thing.
No. This is
Don't,
what I always
don't
say.
dump that on us. No, I don't mean you, but I mean,
No. I've written about this. I was always angry whenever, because as I said to you, I come from a working class area of Dún Laoghaire, which isn't supposed to exist. There's a Sally Knock on this last hill, this Monkstown farm. We all live there.
fucking almost up front.
But every time the cameras come out to Dún Laoghaire, they go to those areas or York Road, and they don't go up to Foxrock and Killiney, where the fucking people have the money to.
Where the real junkies are.
Absolutely.
Where the real junkies are, where they can do it in comfort.
Yeah.
The reason you catch me and you don't catch the guy in Foxrock is because he doesn't have to rub stuff out of the car to get his drugs.
Yeah.
He gets it out his own man.
Yeah.
Or he gets, he buys it himself.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to rub stuff.
Yeah. And it was never a temptation for you, no?
No, it was always no bottle.
No money either.
No bottle, no really.
Yeah.
It was offered to me like fucking
Yeah.
book she.
Yeah.
But just never had the guts for it. I was always afraid. I got drunk one night I'm a great student, a great pupil. Really love to learn, and when I learn something, it's indelible,
Yeah.
you know? I was about, geez, we're only just married.
Yeah.
So I'm 18 years married this year, so 17 years ago. 23. I've been 23.
All right.
And I've never been a drinker again. Can't beat the fuck. I never liked the taste of it.
All right.
So when I did drink,
Whiskey or beer?
no, when I do drink, I drink a vodka and Coke.
All right.
Because it contains
You're trying to
vodka.
Coke.
Yeah,
I drink
there's
whiskey and Coke.
Yeah,
Get the fucking head. You're deshrining a whiskey with that.
that is showing me flute. Fuck
What
off.
if I get that one again?
You're
You leave the Coke on it. I'm not bringing whiskey into the equation.
No,
you
that's
tried that?
no going back. It's good.
No going back.
No going back. No pulling back.
All right. So what happened? Then?
So we got married and we moved into a house in Ashburn. And the locals, went out for a game of golf with a guy I worked with. Had no lunch. I'm coming back at 5 o'clock. He said, we just stopped for a pint. He liked a pint. He said, we just stopped for one point here on the way home. Because I won't get out tonight. He says, he was married to
Right.
and under the tongue head. So yeah, sure. So we stopped for a pint, and then he had another one. And then the owner sent me, the owner used to be a customer in the restaurant I worked in Ashburn
Right.
House.
Yeah.
The owner sent down 2. Fucking next thing you know, it's 8 o'clock. I'm locked,
Right.
standing up in the fucking bar, entertaining the whole fucking pub. This is 17 years ago.
Right.
For fucking free. Wouldn't
You
get it
mean
for free
bill-
now.
bills in the post.
The
A
invoice.
backdated bill.
Backdated invoice. We went from there. Instead of going home, we ended up in the hotel we worked in at midnight in the
Right.
Ashburn House Hotel, which is only a walk away, say, Stephen Green Shopping Centre from my house,
Right.
or where I was living. I ate a whole fucking chicken. I think I had bones and all. I was fucking famished. And I remember feeling, time to go. Time to go.
Mm.
And I just got up and I said, it was like today, fucking lash now. Lads, I'm out of here. Look. See ya. And out the back door. I woke up the next morning. I don't remember anything from walking out that door. And I woke up the next morning in bed. Dory woke me up. Cup of hot milk. At 12. Yeah, all right, love. And Dory's like that. Like, we're going to have to come in and scut her. She's fucking great.
Right.
Brilliant. Great, 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 great.
Yeah, lucky man.
Very, very lucky. But So I took it. Fuck. I feel dreadful. Brendan said, you want to sit in the fucking stadium when you come in this morning? I said, this morning? And I about 3. 3? I left the place at fucking 12:30. To walk from here to there. Now, how I got home? The local TV Sean Conway knew me mum and knew I'd moved into the area and came down and introduced himself and all that. And he's a nice man. He owns the chemist shop. He's driving home the other way. And I'm standing outside the garden centre in Ashbourne, stripped to the fucking waist, with my clothes over my arm, trying to lift into fucking town. So he's come to the way and he's, fuck is wrong with Brendan? Turned the car around. I got into the car and I sat in. He tells me this. I said, thanks very much. So he says, where are you off to? And I said, did I ask you where you were fucking going? He said, no, you didn't. Well, mind your own fucking business. So, using the head, he just drove me around to the house.
All right.
Stepped outside the door. And I said, right, good luck. He said, right, good night. Good night, Brendan. I said, I know you know who we are, and I know who you are, and you're a Fianna Fáil cunt. And I, come here, I'll tell you something. You don't represent me. I didn't vote for you. You represent them mullah cunts. I gave them fucking pig's abuse. Went into the
As
house.
many would have wanted to do.
In vino fide.
Yeah.
In the wine is the truth.
Yeah.
Walked into the house, went up the stairs, went into the bedroom. Darling Meg says, what the fuck happened to you? You shut your fucking mouth. One more word, out of this house. Oh, Jesus, Joe, that is not me.
I know, she was a skinhead. I wouldn't.
Now, fucking. Fact is, that from that, I will never lose time out of my life again. Never.
All right.
Not for fucking drink, not for drugs, not for any fucking thing will I lose. 3 hours that I don't know what the fuck I did. Where I was.
Yeah.
Irreplaceable.
Good lesson, though. Hell of a lesson.
But I've been very lucky that way. Very lucky.
Yeah.
All along the line.
The little fecker, when did he fade in there? I know, guys, I am fading it there because Brendan and I talked for a further hour and a quarter. And I'm told that the length that people prefer in podcasts is between 25 minutes and 30. So that was part 1. I thank you for listening. And don't forget, if you want to see any of my articles, they're available at joejacksoninterview.com. And the book, Brendan O'Carroll Soul Searching and Uncensored, is available from Amazon.